That's not
And
convenient at all.
when they're attacking the church, the attack is different.
Yep, yep. Okay, locker room, ready to go. Good morning, people. It's good to be on YouTube after so long. How are you doing today?
So sleepy.
Well,
So I'm getting too old for this thing.
But
for this no sleeper coming to work.
I'm as in, but how you can never be old for a figure. Till whenever. Yeah, it is this cold in the studio. Ta-da! Ready? Let's go. Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. It's time for the Locker Room 981. And guess who we have here live in the studio? It is the one, the only Tega Supreme. Drum
Good
roll,
morning.
please.
Is it morning? It's morning.
It's
yes.
still morning.
Yeah,
it's still
it's
morning.
morning.
Some people haven't had, sleep.
Let me greet my people on YouTube.
Greet them,
you're
please.
just hitting on
Say
them.
hello to
Hello,
them.
everybody. Forgive the bags under my eye. It is a consequence of the NBA playoffs.
It's for your sake, so for her sake, really. But then also, we get to benefit from her knowledge and experience watching it and dishing it to us this morning. We're streaming live on YouTube, so if you'd like to see Tega, hurry to YouTube. YouTube is youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos, and we are on Twitter at smooth981FM. Use the hashtag Lockerroom981. And on WhatsApp, you can send us a message on 0809 444 0981. Let's go. Lebron James leads LA Lakers to NBA Western Conference Final Series victory. James helped the Los Angeles Lakers reach the NBA Finals for the first time in 10 years with a 117-107 victory over the Denver Nuggets. They were led by a triple-double from James, who scored 16 of his 38 points in the third quarter and added 16 rebounds and 10 assists.
Well, another LeBron James time in the NBA playoffs. But, fantastic career record for him. And it is the expectation, and he delivers on that expectation. Every team he goes to, you have to make it to the playoffs finals. Just you have LeBron James, then you're going to the finals. So I think when the first time Lakers didn't make it, it was an issue. But this year, it has always been top of the mind that at least in the West, they will make it to the finals. The question was, could Clippers maybe stop them this year? Because Clippers had that that team with deep rotation, and they had Doc Rivers, who has also won an NBA championship, and Kawhi Leonard, who is defending MVP of the playoffs. So it looked like the Clippers were going to be the ones to stop the Lakers, but the Clippers didn't even play the conference finals. It was Denver Nuggets, and I think after the Lakers had taken it up to 3-1. Denver Nuggets against Utah Jazz, they come back from 3-1. Again in the semifinals against the Clippers, they had come back from 3-1. But the Lakers were just like, we're going to shut this down. we are not the Clippers. We may be in the same town, we may share the same building, but we are not the Clippers. Yeah. And the way they shut down that in that game 5, it was amazing. But the Lakers have a tough one now in another team that has stunned everybody. They were the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, but from the minute they started the playoffs, they just always look favorites to go far, and it's the Miami Heat. So last night, the Miami Heat finally took care of Boston Celtics. Some of us expected it to have ended on Saturday, but it ended yesterday, and it was the way they did it down the stretch. In the fourth quarter, the minute they brought on Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, I said, Celtics, you're on Domby. Game over. Because you can't defend those guys from the perimeters. Those guys can knock down threes walking backwards. It's just, you could just tell that Eric Spoelstra wanted to shut out the game. So 9 minutes into the fourth quarter, again, Boston Celtics were leading by 6 points. Again, down the stretch, they couldn't drop their shots, because the minute Tyler Hero started dropping those shots and Duncan Robinson, on the other end, Tatum missing his 3, Kemba Walker missing his 3, Marcus Smart doing dumb things. and they didn't have the rotation, because I mean, you won't call Grant Williams a good player at all, and is it Wanamaker that you want to use to plug the holes in your defense? So it wasn't always going to be for them, and the way every sponsor approached that fourth quarter, you knew that it was going to be an embarrassing finish, and it was. So it's Miami Heat versus Lakers starting this Wednesday. Sleep is for the week.
Wonderful. All right. Bronson says LeBron James is grandeur. The guy is massive. My daughter believes he's the second best player in the NBA history. Sega, do you agree?
In NBA history,
Yeah.
he doesn't make my top 5.
Really?
NBA history.
Who would be your top 5?
History.
Yes.
This history is going to include Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Doc Robinson. No.
Make your top 5.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Magic Johnson. No.
Okay, Ramsey, maybe you mean in modern history.
No. Some people, no. Even according to the new rankings,
Yeah.
that they did these rankings. I think it was a few months back. And LeBron James was ahead of some of these guys I've called.
Really?
Which is shocking and disappointing. Because I've watched both. There's artistry and there's athleticism, and Magic, you can't replace Magic.
Yeah.
You can quantify all these points, shots making and assists. Those are quantities you can calculate and you can see, but you cannot explain Magic. And that's why.
Well, Biggie says LeBron James is the king of the court. Tega, he better make your top 5.
Lie.
Right, so Lewis Hamilton's record must wait after he falls foul of Russian Grand Prix stewards. In the end, the record will have to wait. An uncharacteristically error-strewn weekend from Lewis Hamilton at the Russian Grand Prix meant Michael Schumacher still stands alone in Formula One's history books for one more race, at least. Hamilton asked his team if he could do his practice starts from further up the pit lane than the usual spot, and they said he could. The stewards disagreed, and Hamilton was given a 10-second penalty. He thought his punishment for what he regarded as a relatively harmless error was ridiculous, and provocatively added, "It is to be expected. They are trying to stop me, and they."
And at some point it was beginning to look like that, but it's not a conspiracy. I know some people say, they were trying to make it exciting. It's not. And then there were some others that say, Lewis Hamilton, stop whining, you're always whining when they punish you. But there were drivers that did agree that this was ridiculous, and for each of those, so it was not a straight 10-second penalty, it was 2 5-second penalties for the practice starts, and each of those penalties carried a 1 point penalty. So Lewis was already on 10 points, or was already on 8 points. And with those 2-point penalties, he got to 10. If you have a 12-point penalty, you miss the next race. So he's perilously close to the edge, and which is why it was a big deal. But the stewards changed their mind after they listened to the radio message, realizing that he had asked the engineers who should know the rules, and they came out to say that he could do it. Meanwhile, he couldn't do it. According to Toto Wolff, when he was explaining the incident, he said that in the director's rule book, they didn't say, they said you should do this, but they didn't say you could not do that. So it was not, there's some infringements that the penalties are outrightly stated in the director's rule book, and for this, it's not outrightly stated. I'm not sure. I mean, the FIA thought somebody would try to practice out of position. So I'm sure they didn't put it in, but it will make its way somewhere into the rule book at some point in time. But what it means is this season, as good as Hamilton had looked in his car, and has uncompromising and unchallenged as he's looked, it is mistakes like this that have put other people in the race. And this is the second race that Peter Bonington's wrong decision has cost Hamilton. And Hamilton will ask over the radio. You can hear him clearly ask, and Peter Bonington will be like, go on, Lewis, go on. And then it's Lewis that pays the penalty at the end of the day. So they need to sit down. I want to be a fly on the wall when they're having their private meetings, because when they come out and talk, they're always very diplomatic. And I want to see somebody throw a chair. but what that meant for Valtteri Bottas is finally he could beat Lewis Hamilton. When the race started, I think it was at the second or fourth corner, he looked like he was going to overtake. In fact, he looked like his car was already ahead. But Lewis Hamilton defended so deep that he had to go on the curb, and Lewis Hamilton went ahead. If without the penalties, Lewis Hamilton would have won. But with the penalties, he could only manage a podium finish third place. So the race is not over. There's still a 44-point difference between Valtteri Bottas and Lewis, but it's not something that they can catch up on. So
Really?
yeah, so 3 races before, it looked like Lewis Hamilton was definitely going to win the championship in 2 race time.
Yeah.
So mistakes and
oh gosh. Well, it only makes it more exciting.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. These things have made it exciting, but the fact of the matter is, Hamilton in that car, he just looks invincible. But the Russian Grand Prix, all in all, apart from the penalties, everything went according to plan. For Mercedes and at least for Red Bull, with Max Verstappen finishing where he's supposed to be finishing. I think for Albon though, I thought last season was the season he could get used to the car, and by this season maybe he'll be finishing higher up the grid, but he's not doing anything to challenge. He's not maximizing that car. And some people say, well, the car was made more for Max Verstappen than from Albon. No, try.
Okay, now let's move away from Grand Prix from Formula One to tennis. Ridiculous cold sparks revolt as Wawrinka downs Murray. Roland Garros got underway in the ridiculous chill and damp of Paris on Sunday, with Victoria Azarenka walking off court, complaining that it was too cold to play, before Stan Wawrinka brushed aside fellow 3-time major winner Andy Murray in this day's marquee clash. It was all too much for Azarenka, who left the almost deserted court, Susan Lenglen, after just 3 games. I don't see the point of sitting on the court when it's 8 degrees, fumed 2-time major winner Azarenka. On court, she complained, "We're sitting like ducks. It's too cold. It's 8 degrees. I live in Florida."
You know,
this is getting a little ridiculous. I'm not waiting, she said before storming off to seek shelter.
Yeah, but she eventually came back and then she won her game. But it's the thing we're going to see in the French Open. Truth be told, this is not the time in Europe that they host the French Open. Usually it will be May. So I understand why they'll be uncomfortable with it. Even King of Clay, Rafa Nadal, was talking about the temperatures and how it will affect the ball movement, and why everybody's game. That even Roland Garros is his thing. He's not certain to win it. I didn't think he was certain to win it anyway, but for him to add that to my analysis, that makes it even better. So when it started, the outfits have changed. You need to see them with their leggings, sweater. It is cold. It is cold for everybody. Yesterday Venus Williams was looking like she had rag day, because just to come on court, the outfit she had to wear, it was ridiculous. But now that everybody knows, I think everybody's going to find a way to get warm clothing and just play their tennis as it can happen. Yeah, but when it comes to the play though, Andy Murray did not give Stan Wawrinka any kind of competition. Almost as if he rolled over and just said, "You know what? It's so cold. I want to go back inside." but he had 1 or 2 games where he played, where he served well, and where he challenged Wawrinka a little bit. But just 1 or 2 games in a 3-set, in a best of 5 set match, did not make any sense. It was literally a walkthrough for Stan Wawrinka. In another match, Coco Gauff, yes, our Coco Gauff, defeated Johanna Konta from Great Britain in her first round match. She was a little more comfortable on the court. She looked a little more confident. It didn't look like her nerves had got to her, regardless of the fact that she was on the big stage. So also congratulations to her. Now Venus, who we spoke about, also lost yesterday in her first round match. So really tricky one. But I'm just looking at all their outfits. I think I'm going to use them to check out what to wear in winter.
I'm looking at her. I want to see Serena. Is Serena going to give us some of her rather raunchy outfits?
Please,
on court.
Raunchy outfits inside her court. You can't be.
She's going to respect herself.
That girl can come out in sweatpants. I don't trust her.
Oh gosh, all right. Okay, so thank you all for your comments. I see them. They say they can't see your face on YouTube. That are you at home? You might as well be at home.
I'm at home.
We want to see your face. All right, so we'll put the camera to a better angle so you can see Tega, the passion on her face as she analyzes today's stories.
Lack of sleep.
It's that was a lack of sleep. It's still Locker Room 981 here on Smooth 98.1, and we are having a great time. Hope you are too. Join us again after this break as we come for the second half of the Locker Room 981. Let me go.
I can't go closer to her. There's such a thing called social distancing.
So let my camera come closer to you.
It will not cover your face now. It has to cover both.
No, cover. It's actually these things that yeah, but there's nothing you can do. Oh, thanks. Let me see. Still,
not put it here.
No, so move a bit. So move the camera to this side. Yeah. Hold on. Let me see.
I won't be able to talk to you.
You have to. Okay, no, you have to. I'll move. Don't worry, move.
I bet this my face that everybody must see. It's not here on my face.
There we go. That's much better. Yeah, much better. Yeah. So when you're not speaking, give me that hair.
Darling, have you eaten? We're running late. Mom, I'm done. Wow, that's quite fast.
There we go.
Okay, you can start with the Lewis Hamilton's practice.
The F1.
The F1. Yeah, because some people just wake up in the morning and be talking when they did not watch.
It's fortified with vitamins and minerals for a rich start to your
Say
day.
lie.
My mom is the best in the world. Rich start cornflakes and choco balls are delicious and protein
Actually.
with added vitamins for growth. Rich start cereals provide great energy and essential minerals for a good start to an active day. Available in all leading supermarkets and stores.
My name is
Lady T.
Professional wife fighter.
Okay, so I feel like I'm at Roland Garros myself.
Wi-Fi like this. Lady T don't japa.
Lady T. Let me see. There we go. Yeah, we see you. It's even better for it's closer for me too. You see, they can see our faces. Yay! Thank you, Rotimi. Thank you, Omokoko Twinkle. Thank you, Ernest Okenwa.
I don't get more data. So take do shakara.
Take a wave to your many fans.
I'm your many
There are
fans.
many online.
I'm asleep, I swear. If you hear silence, close my eyes.
Okay, we're back.
Breakfast way. Always fresh.
Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. It's the second half of the Locker Room 981, and we have some stories to get through. But before then, I want to take some of your comments on WhatsApp. Tega is still here and still awake.
Yeah.
Very important. Larry from the abroad says, oh, shout out to our YouTube fam. You guys are just wonderful. If you'd like to join our YouTube family, please go onto YouTube. It's increasing. Tega, your people are here. So go onto YouTube and Smooth 981 FM Lagos. You see that we're streaming live. And on WhatsApp, you can send your message to 0809 444 0981. So Larry from the abroad says, Lewis's practice starts puts other drivers at risk and surprised Bono, and the rest of the team didn't see that. Gasly in the junior team once again finished ahead of Albon, who replaced him after his demotion. Writing is on the wall.
Okay, Larry from the abroad. That's not true. His practice starts did not put anybody at risk. If you watch the race or you heard the radio message, it was yes, you could start up further up front, but keep enough space for cars to pass, and there was more than enough. It wasn't a safety issue, it was more a positional issue because he started out of position. So it's a bit like if you go on the grid and you start ahead of that white line, you will incur a penalty. So yeah, Larry
from the
Don't start
abroad.
that.
Don't start it.
Don't join them.
All right, so the Cisco Delgado says, there's no doubt Tega is a good sports analyst. I love her so much for that. Thank you, Cisco. And then Sheikh Mansour says, should not give, Sheikh Mansour should not give Pep anymore to buy defenders. He should improve what he has. Femi from Festa says. Yeah. I was calling him Sheikh.
350 million. and they're still conceding 5 goals against Leicester. It's not Bayern Munich, Leicester. It will be well.
All right, so Pello says Juventus are work in progress after a Roma draw. Juventus coach Andrea Pello was disappointed by his side's performance in Sunday's 2-2 Serie A draw at AS Roma, but explained that his side was still a work in progress. The Italian champions failed to impress in the capital and had a Cristiano Ronaldo double to thank as they came from behind twice, the second time while down to 10 men after Adrian Rabiot was shown a second yellow card.
Okay, I'll say this for Andre Pello. He shouldn't get as much criticism as he's getting this early. And he shouldn't be so defensive. It was against Roma, for crying out loud. And they were, number one, they were away. Roma is a tough team in Italian Serie A, regardless of how poor their defense can seem to be sometimes. And they were 1 man down. And they came away with a draw. Please, it was not bad. Trust me, I don't know who you think is the best coach in the world. They could have still gotten that result against Roma. So I don't think he needs to be this defensive. I think people need to calm down. I think sometimes the
Calming down.
the pressure gets a little harder because he has no experience. But they won their first game convincingly, and they played well enough in the second game against Roma. So please don't bring out the 6 months. Even Antonio Conte struggled a little bit with Inter Milan. He won his game by 4-3. It may mean that he got all 3 points, but it still means that his defense considered 3 goals. Anyhow you want to look at it, they considered 3 goals against Fiorentina.
Yeah,
so there is a struggle. But what it is, it used to be that the Italian Serie A was one of the best defensive leagues in the world. How people are shipping in goals in the Italian Serie A this season is beyond me. Napoli scored 6. AC Milan scored 6. What is happening in Italy? Where have all the defenders in the world gone? Have they been converted to 10s? So I think Pello will do nice. Will do well enough. But I still think we need to give him time to get into the job. And he's not like I said, they're not worse than they were last season. So easy with the tweets.
All right, okay, so easy with it. You heard that. Okay, well, Yemi Richard is saying that trust your good. Who do you think will win between Arsenal and Liverpool? We'll get to that in a moment. Guardiola, anxiety puts Never City to the sword. Lack of patience after conceding an equalizer against the run of play made Manchester City fall apart in their 5-2 Premier League home defeat by defensive-minded Leicester City manager Pep Guardiola said. They didn't want to play. They defended so deep and just wanted to counter-attack. He told the BBC after seeing a side he has managed to concede 5 goals for the first time in his 668th game in charge.
Okay, there are different ways to play football. You can decide that you just want to go out and play. Some people say, okay, I want to be a little tactical. I can't compete with them in the midfield, so I will hold my line. And when I see my opportunity, I'll score. There's no one is not superior to the other. You will cook your soup with the ingredients you have. You can't say you want to cook a goosey soup when you have only ogbono. You are going to have to find a way around it. So please stop complaining. You chose to attack, they chose to defend. At the end of the day, their defensive team won. Don't cry. So, but what it was they fell apart pretty quickly. They started the game very well with that wicked goal from Riyad Mahrez. It was that goal should carry some jail time because the way he whipped it into the back of the net, there was no way any defender or goalkeeper was stopping that. And it looked like they were going to build from there, regardless of the fact that they didn't have their main strikers in Aguero or Gabriel Jesus. It looked like they had enough on their team to get some goals. But they created a few chances, but they were not clear-cut chances. And that's what he needs to worry about. That a team with so many attack-minded players, with so many runners, weren't getting behind the defense, weren't giving the defense a lot to work with. And they were a little too predictable. And that's what he needs to focus on, not the fact that somebody else was defending. The person is going to defend. So what are you going to do? Are you going to just be crying for the next 36 games in the season? No, you're going to have to find a way around it. His team is too predictable. Their build-up was too slow. You knew that they will give the ball to Kevin De Bruyne and then he will look for a pass to Raheem Sterling up front. Yeah. So that's easy to cut out. Especially as Raheem Sterling, especially yesterday, was not at his most lethal best. So you have to you have to find a way around it. For Brendan Rodgers, on the other hand, like I said, he used the tools in his shed and he used them perfectly. He's also missing a key player in Wilfred Ndidi, so it's not a question of Pep Guardiola to come in to say I didn't have a few key players. No, even Leicester had their struggle, but they looked up for Jamie Vardy up front, got a few runs from Madison, got a few goals, and they were good to go. So Pep Guardiola is going to have to work on first his defense. They're not the brightest bulbs in any room, especially Kyle Walker. I mean, think about it. You gave away 3 penalties in one match. On one hand, Mendy is, what's the English word for Chalaye?
Explaining FC.
On one hand, Mendy is misbehaving on this one hand, and Kyle Walker, on the other hand, is not being disciplined and responsible. He was not smart about his tackle. So if you look at it, if you gave away 3 penalties, that's not a question of somebody sitting deep and defending. That's a question of your defense not doing their job well. And so you have to work on that. That's what you should focus on. Stop complaining on how Brendan Rodgers set up.
You heard it. Stop
Think about how
complaining.
you set up.
Exactly. Face it. Look at the man in the mirror.
Yes.
Chira Nancy says, so Napoli scored 6 goals and our own Osimhen didn't score any. I'm surprised. And then Ronson says they have lost their Cantancio style. That's why the goals are flowing. That's for the Italian Serie A. And then Femi from Festac says Man City won 5, Leicester City. Pep is finished. Football has left him and his tactics are out.
Actually, Man City 2, Leicester 5. Just give them their second
Yeah,
goal.
give them their second, yeah. Man City, LOL. Will Arsenal do it the third time consecutively? Me and my popcorn watching tonight. Tega, you good?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's take this story. Arsenal face acid test of Arteta revolution at Anfield.
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta has changed the mood around Arsenal, according to Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp, with the Gunners rejuvenated by winning the FA Cup, Community Shield, and their opening 2 games of the Premier League season. With the speed they have for the counter-attack, they can cause you some trouble, warned Klopp.
Yeah, and he's right, but this is Anfield, and Anfield is a fortress. I know. Before you come for me, it seems like Bayern this weekend have not lost in 32 games and they lost by 4 goals to 1. It happens sometimes, but this is still Anfield, so you're going to have to give them that respect. Arsenal, especially Mikel Arteta, has found a way to read Jurgen Klopp's tactics and take advantage of that and get some wins. There are some coaches that know how to play coaches, and Arteta seemed like he has found out how to play Klopp. But again, because this is Anfield, I will still say Liverpool kind of has the upper hand.
No.
But psychologically, that thing plays in your mind.
Yes, it does.
When a team has defeated you back to back,
Yeah.
there's a way you approach the game with some caution. Yeah, you're not just going to come and be flying way out and say
Klopp is already.
yeah, Klopp's he's already gauging how Aubameyang may coil that ball in the back of the net. I know, guy, but I mean, psychologically, it will be there, and they will approach the game with that caution that, you know what, Arsenal can be dangerous on the counter, and it doesn't matter who. It's a question really of the tactics that Arsenal approach when they're playing against Liverpool. And because Liverpool is not so solid defensively this season, especially if you watch their first 2 games, and especially their game against Leeds, you would say that Arsenal could get some joy. But can Arsenal outscore Liverpool?
Yes.
Because
Let me answer for you.
it may come down to that. Sadio Mane is the guy that will run at defense. I can imagine Sadio Mane running at Arsenal's defense. So people's head will be turning on you. That's the way he will confuse you. And I think because of that hard work from Sadio Mane and the brilliance of Mo Salah, they may just conjure up some goals, especially at home, and especially to stop the streak. Because sometimes it's about that psychology. If we can break the streak, then it will be as if those 2 games were an aberration, and we're going to go on with it. And so I think they're going to approach this with a business angle. Look, don't dribble more than 2 people. Just pass the ball around. But I think because it's Anfield, because it's Liverpool, they have that slight advantage.
Well, Richard is saying, I haven't opened it fully, but I can see the first line saying there are no fans at Anfield. So it's not the same thing. We're going there, but I'm going to pick our 3 points complete. We're not even sharing it. Yes, I have to read. Now I'm going to read. I have a few comments. Take appreciation morning. Let me now start. Nana says, Tega, your knowledge of sports is just legendary. The way you arrange your analysis makes me listen to this locker room. Keep soaring. You should be looking at doing something for the sports industry in Nigeria. She is already, says Go Tega. Emmanuel Ajayi on YouTube. Everywhere they're calling your name. 10/10. Stupendous analysis. Seamless delivery. Hands down classic. Then Sly is about to, maybe proposing. He says, Tega, every Saturday I do watch your analysis on NTA Sports. You're such a beautiful and sweet lady. I'm just falling for you. End of discussion. Then he goes on to say, since club era, Liverpool have mastered how to deal with smaller teams, while Man City are having the problem of dealing with smaller teams now. And this has been happening to them since last season.
Yeah.
Yemi says, the stadiums are empty. So, yeah. Chris says, in summary, Tega, we love you. Agreed. Chima Nancy says, yesterday was Vardy's party. Leicester City were so fantastic against Man City. Next, now, Pep will rush to the market. For money on the ref, hope that same ref will give the likes of Leeds United a full-time penalty. Biggie from K to final comment says, this last weekend seems supposed to be called Ishoku from Bayern, Man City, Chelsea. Let's not forget Man U, sponsored by the First Lady VAR, for helping them in quote grace. If he had been another lower team, we will not see such happening. Liverpool versus Arsenal, Mikel Arteta knows the cheat code. That's right.
Yeah,
we're going to get the 3 points. We're not even giving.
Okay, but for Manchester United, that VAR incident.
Yes.
That VAR incident. Look, so now that we're looking at the rules, because the incident happened before the final whistle, which is I'm still going to question IFAB on this, and I've been saying it because the incident happened before the final whistle.
Yeah.
Yes, VAR had to look at it and then relate to the referee. The annoyance was the referee shouldn't have blown the final whistle until the VAR check was complete, and that's where the problem was. But because they checked it,
there's no way they'd have allowed that.
So the thing is, once they blow the final whistle, the match is over. I'm categorically. But again, this new VAR rule, there's still some gray area. So according to the rules, he could still do that, which is for me is questionable because when watching football all my life, final whistle. Exactly. You can do that at halftime because VAR has because it's still another 45 minutes. I've seen the halftime whistle being blown. Everybody has gone to the dressing room. VAR called them back and said there was a penalty. They came back and took it. But there's another 45 minutes yet to play. It's not the final whistle. But the final whistle is supposed to be the final whistle. So I guess when IFAB sits next week, I already know some names on that IFAB list, like Luis Figo. I'll just go to his Twitter handle now. When IFAB meets next week or thereabout, can they withdraw
the goal if they find out that
game is over? Game is over. 3 points has gone.
3 points gone. All right. Thank you all so much for listening and being a part of the conversation. You can find out the work that Tega does with women in sports at LIS International. Fantastic work. And then follow her, Tega Supreme, on all social media platforms. Twitter is where she's active. Follow us at Smooth981 FM. Use the hashtag Lockerroom981. Let's analyze tonight's match together. And on Wednesday, we'll come and talk about it. But at 9 o'clock, we're going to be looking at the suspended strike. Well, suspended for only 2 weeks. Let's talk about this. I know a number of people had a lot to say during Freshly Pressed 901 and we couldn't take all your comments. Well, this is your time now, so please do stay tuned. 9 o'clock, I will open the phone lines and you will get to just express yourself here on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life.
I'm not likely. I was looking forward to this track. I was like, sleep.
Well, you don't have to come to work. We don't go on strike.
No, we are on strike. Are we not